All right, welcome to this explainer where we are diving head first into the absolute cinematic drama of the 2026 World Cup final. A match that literally delivered history at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. Now, if you're a football fan, you already know the result, but the actual journey of how we got there, man, it is a total masterclass in tactics and unbearable tension and some massive generational shifts. I want to start things off by focusing on one specific number, 106. The 106th minute. This was the exact, undeniable moment where everything flipped in this incredibly tense showdown between the world's top two teams. It was the breaking point of this grueling heavyweight stalemate that really just pushed both squads to their absolute physical limits. But before we break down the tactics and, frankly, the sheer chaos of how this match ended, I want you to keep this question in the back of your mind. Was this the end of an era? Or the birth of a new one? Because this final, it was about so much more than a simple 1-0 scoreline. What you should really take away from this is just how deeply symbolic those 120 minutes were for the global sport. Section 1. The ultimate global showdown. Let's set the stage for July 19th, 2026. Spain and Argentina are colliding for ultimate glory. And the storylines couldn't be better. You had Argentina trying to do the impossible, hoping to become the first side in 64 years to win back-to-back World Cups and break a historical curse. And on the flip side, Spain was chasing a historic double, aiming to hold both the European and World Championships at the exact same time. The stakes literally could not have been higher. Section 2, Last Dance vs. New Blood. The central narrative of this match wasn't just two heavyweights going at it. It was this poetic, almost scripted clash of generations. The seasoned legends versus the fearless new kids on the block. Just think about it. On one side of the pitch, you've got Lionel Messi, 39 years old, playing his sixth and, let's be real, likely his very last World Cup match, desperately wanting that dream farewell. And standing in his way, Spain's new teenage revolutionaries, Lamine Yamal and Pau Cubarsí, both just 19 years old. It's the ultimate passing of the torch. And speaking of Cubarsí, I want you to wrap your head around a staggering number, 139. A 19-year-old center back had 139 touches in a World Cup final that actually led his entire team in defense. I mean, just think about the immense crushing pressure of that stage, and this teenager is the guy calmly pulling the strings from the backline. Let's look a little closer at his performance, because despite his age, Cubarsí played exactly like a seasoned veteran. We're talking 121 successful passes, a 96% pass accuracy, and get this, 21 line-breaking passes against the defending champions. He played all 750 minutes of the tournament for Spain and earned a massive 8.5 rating on Flash Score for the final. Why does this matter? Because it perfectly proves how Spain's entire system is built on absolute technical composure no matter how young you are. Section 3. A tense, tactical stalemate. Now, getting into the match itself, if you tuned in expecting an open, high-scoring thriller, well, you were probably pretty surprised. The 90 minutes of regulation turned into an absolute war of attrition. Spain just relentlessly strangled the game. They completely controlled the pitch, dominating possession and creating chances. But here's the most astonishing fact of the night. The defending champions Argentina were totally neutralized. They didn't land a single shot at goal for almost the entire match. Zero. They only finally registered an attempt in the last few minutes of extra time. But, of course, Argentina had a guardian angel in goal, Emiliano Dibu Martinez. He practically built a brick wall in front of the net, just repeatedly shutting down Spain's best efforts. He single-handedly kept Argentina alive with world-class saves, including this absolutely stunning block against a Lamine Yamal free kick and another crucial stop on Mikel Oyarzabal. It was a complete goalkeeping clinic that essentially dragged the game past the 90-minute mark. Section 4. The extra time breakthrough. As we moved into extra time, the physical and emotional toll was just painfully evident on the pitch. Looking at the sequence of events, it is absolutely wild. Right at the end of the 90 minutes, Enzo Fernandez gets a second yellow for a really crude challenge on Cubarsí, and he's off. Down to 10 men, Argentina gets forced deep into their own half, which directly paves the way for Spain's 106th-minute breakthrough. And then, absolute chaos at the final whistle when Leandro Paredes sparks this intense, massive brawl, a total roller coaster. But let's go back to that crucial breakthrough, because it's incredible how surgically Spain executed this golden goal under that kind of pressure. First, Pedro Porro sends in this looping cross. Then Nico Williams does brilliantly to just keep the play alive, heading the ball down right back into heavy traffic. And finally, substitute Ferran Torres arrives at the perfect second to smash a high finish right past Martinez. Just a masterpiece of collective persistence. The pure, raw emotion of that moment is perfectly summed up by Ferran Torres himself. He said, "It is the goal of 47 million people." He explained that this wasn't just his goal to celebrate. It was the culmination of a massive, collective dream for the entire Spanish nation. It's a brilliant reminder for all of us of exactly why international football carries such profound emotional weight. Section 5. Chaos in a New Era. So as Spain celebrated their ascent back to the throne, the bitter sting of defeat led to a pretty ugly aftermath. The fallout was highly charged. Over on the BBC, former England players like Joe Hart and Wayne Rooney strongly condemned that post-match brawl. Hart actually stated, "It was disgusting. There was a man on the pitch who did have class, and that was Lionel Messi. With Argentina, you're not surprised they've crossed the line again." This whole melee, which saw Paredes given a red card, definitely cast a bit of a dark shadow over what was otherwise a really emotional, tearful farewell from Messi. But if we look past the final whistle chaos for a second, we really need to appreciate Spain's historic dominance here. By keeping their tactical composure, La Roja didn't just secure their second World Cup crown. They joined an incredibly elite, historic club of nations to hold the World Cup and the Euro simultaneously. They joined West Germany from the 70s, France around the turn of the millennium, and of course their own legendary 2008 to 2012 Spanish squad. A quick glance at the tournament awards perfectly summarizes just how dominant Spain really was. The list is practically painted in Spanish red. Rodri takes the Golden Ball as the tournament's absolute best player. 19-year-old Pau Cubarsí wins Best Young Player. Unai Simón takes the Golden Glove for conceding just one single goal the entire tournament. The only real outlier is Kylian Mbappé, who notably pipped Messi for the Golden Boot by scoring 10 goals for France. But overall, total Spanish control. And manager Luis de la Fuente couldn't have been prouder of his squad. He said this generation of players is an example for Spanish sport, for the Spanish youth. Together we are much stronger. He highlighted just how completely loyal this marvelous squad was to their core tactical identity, willing to endure the sheer suffering of a grueling 120-minute final to emerge on top. So we want to leave you with this final thought, a real question to ponder as we wrap up this explainer. With the old guard, players like Messi taking their final bow, and a 19-year-old leading the defense of the newly crowned champions, how many more trophies is this new Spanish dynasty going to capture? Are we currently witnessing the dawn of the most dominant Spanish era in football history? Let that sink in. Thanks for exploring this historic match with us.